Hello everyone, welcome back to Facing the Waves. I am just doing some Bible reading this morning before the kids get up for the day. And I was listening to some music. I have my little candle lit. This was one of my Christmas gifts and it smells so good. Lavender and lemonade. It smells like candy. But I wanted to get a sort of a short testimony out for you guys. I was getting all my things set up to go ahead and start this video, and then I heard a noise in the room where our dog is, and I knew it was going to be bad. He had diarrhea all over the floor. Oh, so that was frustrating. I had to clean that up. So the enemy is definitely trying to block me from getting this testimony out to you guys. I've had it in my mind to share this with you for a long time. It has to do with my small business. But I've just been getting distracted. The holidays came. I've been feeling really unmotivated lately, and it's just been like a period where I feel like God has been very quiet. I went through a moment of God sending me so many messages and feeling super motivated, and then all of a sudden everything just like dropped and silenced. So I am starting to feel a lot better and more motivated again. And I wanted to get this out because I write things down as I want to share them, and then when I have the time, I record the videos and share the messages with you. Some of them are, I feel, more urgent to share. Some of them I just kind of write down for when I have time. So my testimony, if you follow our other channel, it's called Our Vision Farm. I believe one of the last like longer videos I posted on there had to do with getting our home kitchen licensed, and I did a little kitchen tour of how the little mini kitchen makeover came out and my experience with getting our home kitchen licensed here in Maine. Because in Florida we operated under the Florida Cottage Food Law, and Maine has something similar, but they do require a kitchen inspection to actually make food and sell it and be able to also disperse it to like retail settings. I can wholesale, I can ship with this permit with just getting a simple kitchen inspection. But let me tell you, the journey to get to that point was very long. It was very frustrating. I felt like we would never reach that. Something as simple as getting a kitchen inspection turned into something that took a lot longer. I thought we would get this done last year when we first moved here, but it took until this winter pretty much, or I would say fall time, to finally get it done. So we came across lots of obstacles. So I feel like this testimony could help you out, even if it's not like specifically towards a business that you want to start, but anything, any goal that you want to reach in life. Just being patient, waiting for the right timing, and keep on praying about it and asking God for guidance and for God to lead your next steps. So I feel like we came across a lot of obstacles when it came to licensing our home kitchen. When we first moved here, our kitchen, like, it wasn't horrible, but it did need some work, especially to get it licensed, because we had wallpaper and it was like peeling apart and crumbling in some areas, and we just needed a lot of things that the kitchen license required. So we kind of slowly worked on improving our kitchen, fixing it little by little with putting as much money as we could into it, because the kitchen wasn't really something that we were going to renovate or spend a whole bunch of money on. But we were trying to figure out, the main thing was having, because the kitchen license requires either a double bay sink, or they do have an option of having one sink and then a dishwasher. So we were trying to find an affordable way to add a sink without plumbing, because we got some plumbing quotes and it was way too expensive, way too out of budget for adding a second sink. And I didn't want to remove our farm sink either to add a double bay sink. So we were just trying to figure out a way we could do it without plumbing. And I kind of talked back and forth to the people that do the kitchen licensing, and I gave them like some ideas that I had without plumbing. They rejected those. But then one day I came across something called a portable dishwasher, and I asked them if that would be okay, because these portable dishwashers are meant for things like RVs, campers, or like tiny homes or just seasonal homes. And they actually have some that plug right into your sink, and it takes water from your sink and then it dumps all of the wastewater back into your regular kitchen sink, and it drains into whatever, if you have city water, or we have a septic tank. So I thought maybe that would work, and I asked them and I showed them some pictures and they said that that would work. So then I began searching for a dishwasher, because that's a whole nother story. The dishwashers are very expensive, especially portable ones. They have mini ones and full-sized ones. They are very expensive. So I was kind of searching brand new prices. That was way out of budget. So then I started looking at Facebook Marketplace, and the search took very, very long, several months. I almost gave up at one point, because like the really cheap or inexpensive ones seem to be hours and hours away, half across Maine. We'd have to drive like 4 hours to pick it up. Or sometimes I would see a cheap one that was a little bit closer, but it would literally get snatched up before I could even message the seller. And that happened for months and months and months, and I almost just gave up. One day I randomly looked on Facebook Marketplace again, and I came across one that was only $20. The guy was advertising it for $20, and he was only 40 minutes away, sort of in a town that we go to at least twice a week for our shopping and stuff. So I messaged the guy that night as soon as I saw that post. It was the same day he listed it, and he said it was already pending pickup. So this was like the same thing happening over and over. This is what happened to me several times already. So I went to bed that night. I was kind of disappointed, let down, because I was so excited to find that one that was so cheap and so close. Like cheap usually was like 150 to 200 to 250, but this guy was selling it for 20 bucks. So like it doesn't get any cheaper than that. So I went to bed disappointed that night, and then I woke up and I read a message that I had received from the same guy, and he said the person that was supposed to pick it up at a certain time that morning never showed up. So I was so excited. We agreed that we'd go right over as soon as we got up and got dressed. So he said that would be okay, and not only did he say that was okay, he'll hold it for us, but he said he would give it to us for free, because we were willing to drive there and just like drop everything we were doing and drive there and pick it up, and drive 40 minutes away to pick it up. So long story short, we drove, met him, looked at the dishwasher, brought it home, and he had it connected, like set up in a way where you can actually kind of permanently install it. So we were able to actually connect it to where our washer goes, because we have our washer that is in the kitchen. For some reason we have a clothes washing machine in the kitchen. It's already plumbed in there. So we were actually able to shift the clothes washer a little bit to the right and install the dishwasher right there. So in the kitchen tour video, you will see how we set up our kitchen. So it fit right there and it worked. We tried it and it worked. And after that, the next major thing that we had to pay for was a water test. That was only $40. And I knew we would pass, because when we first bought this house, we did take a well water test just to make sure the water was safe and everything checked out. But in order to apply for the kitchen license, they require you to do it within 30 days of applying for your kitchen permit. So we did that, 40 bucks. We did have to drive pretty far away, 2.5 hours to the place to drop off the sample, because the other option was to mail it, but we feel like the mail is so slow here in Maine that even sending it within the state, it would not have arrived on time, because they require it to arrive within 24 hours. So we didn't see how that was going to happen, and we didn't want to waste our money if it would have arrived after 24 hours. So we drove ourselves to the place and dropped it off to ensure that it would get there on time. So plus to ship it and overnight ship, it would have been more expensive than the gas we used to get there. So the next obstacle with getting our home food permit was the septic. So if you're on septic and you want to get a food permit, you need a form. It's called the HHE 200 form from when they originally installed the whole septic system and all of that, or you need a inspection for your septic. So we couldn't find the forms. Our forms were incomplete. We found one form where they replaced the tank, but not when they installed the whole entire septic system, and that is what the people for the kitchen inspection wanted. And I had heard, so then our only option was the kitchen inspection, the septic inspection from a certified inspector, and that could cost up to $650. I had a friend that recently had theirs done within the last year, and that's exactly how much it cost them. So I was ready to give up again because we obviously could not afford $650 for a septic inspection, and there was no history of the other forms that they were requiring in lieu of the inspection. So I just felt like giving up again. I felt like maybe it wasn't meant to be because we were receiving so many like roadblocks, and within all of this, we are also, along with a couple of neighbors in our town, trying to get a food sovereignty law ordinance passed for our town, which would make it so that we don't need all of these kitchen inspections and requirements in order to start selling food to the public. But that is a whole other story. We're still in the works for that. But in the meantime, I still wanted to get my kitchen license and just be a little more formal and proper with my business, and I don't want to get in trouble for not having my kitchen licensed and selling food to the public. So I came across a video which kind of like reconfirmed that, and this YouTube video was talking about, it was basically warning me to keep going. The video wasn't meant specifically for me, but when I watched it, I felt like it was meant for me. It just basically said to keep going, get all your ducks in a row, do everything the correct way so that the enemy can't come and try to destroy you later. So I felt like that was confirmation for me, even though we're trying to get this food sovereignty law passed, to still continue to do stuff the right way and to have my records on papers, and so that I can't get in trouble later on. Let's say if somebody did try to get me in trouble, not sure why they would, but the enemy is always working. So I knew that this message was meant for me about licensing my business and the kitchen and all of that. So after that, I contacted our LUPC office, and she also couldn't find any records of our HHE 200 form of when our septic was installed. So she sent me to the local plumbing inspector, and he even told me that that's how much an inspection was, $650. But he said that for a food license, I may be able to get away with an outer inspection of just like the site of the septic tank, the outside of it. So I called the licensing people, because I guess he's done this before for other businesses. So I called the licensing people, and they said yes, that would work. And better yet, he gave me a really cheap price of $75 to do that, because he happened to be already in the area. His usual price would have been $150 to get that done for me and to fill out the form that I needed for my kitchen license, but he did it for $75 that same day. So that was amazing. So he came and did it. I met him. He said he'll email the report to me, and after he said that, he asked me for a couple more pieces of information through email, and I sent it to him, but I didn't hear back from him for 2 days. Meanwhile, our water test that we had gotten, that is only valid for 30 days. So I think at this point, we were kind of getting close to that 30 days because we were trying to figure out what to do with the septic obstacle. So I sent him all the stuff he needed, and I didn't hear back from him to 2 days. So I emailed him again, and supposedly I had sent him the wrong information, but he never told me that. Like, I had to email him and ask him what was going on, if there was any other updates. So I sent him the correct information, and he said he sent me the report within 48 hours. And like I said, meanwhile, time is ticking. This delayed us a bit, and the water test is almost not valid at this point, which I don't know if they would have let me like extend it a little bit for me since I was so close to completing my application. But I just know that that's the rules. The water permit is only valid for 30 days. So I only had at this point about a week and a half left before that became invalid, and then I'd have to take another water test and drive another 2.5 hours to the town to drop it off. So the 2 days went by and nothing. I didn't hear nothing, and I began to feel stressed out again. God reminded me that, like everything else, I had put in his hands to not stress or worry and don't react. So it's just another reminder. When you remember that God's got you, you experience a peace in your heart. You're able to take a deep breath and exhale and relax your whole body and your heart. And I knew that regardless, this man would do his job and send me my form, because I met him. He seemed like a nice guy. He's been doing this for years and years and years. I knew that he wasn't just going to take my money and never send me the form that I needed. Plus, he sounded really excited about our business as well. So I knew he wasn't going to let us down. But I had to have patience. I had to just relax, take a deep breath, and wait. So, and he was also telling me how right before winter hits, he gets really busy because people are trying to get all their work done last minute. So I gave him some grace, and he eventually did send me the form. It was just a little bit after the 48 hours that he had told me, but he sent it to me. I turned it in, and it took 2 weeks to hear back from the Department of Agriculture. So technically my water test, maybe it was like half a week late. So if it would have been any more late than that, I'm not sure if they would have been strict and made me take a different one, a new one. But I know it took them 2 weeks to hear back. And in those 2 weeks, again, I was feeling a little bit stressed and worried because I wasn't hearing back from them as quick as I wanted. But they did contact me back and scheduled my inspection. And the inspection went flawless. I had a woman inspector, and I don't know if it helped out, but she was actually new. So she checked out my kitchen, everything checked out on her list. And after that, they sent me like not a permanent, the temporary kitchen license through email. And then after that, about a couple weeks later, I got my actual paper inspection. And I was as soon as I got the temporary one, I was able to announce on my Facebook page that we had passed our kitchen inspection. So that is exciting because not only allows me to legally sell food and our products to customers here locally, but like I said, I can wholesale, I can retail, I can go to farmers markets next year when the season starts again for that. So it opens up a lot of doors. I can mail. Before I wasn't allowed to mail our products, so now I can actually ship also. And things that are like non-perishable, like I wouldn't ship baked goods, but things like candy and jams I can for sure ship. And this kitchen license is pretty similar to the cottage food laws. I am not allowed to make anything that requires refrigeration, but most of my products fall under this law anyway. Not the law, but the license. I do jams, candies, baked goods, breads, cookies, things like that. So everything I make is pretty much under that. So it allows me to disperse it in a lot more areas. So it allows me to expand my business a little bit more. And we're still working on the food sovereignty law, because the food sovereignty law will open up so much more possibilities. I wouldn't be able to wholesale these items, but I'd be able to do things that do require refrigeration, like cheesecakes or like cakes with buttercream icing on it. I could even do like meals, frozen meals or cooked meals. We could do things like pickles and hot sauce and barbecue sauce without needing any special additional what do they require, recipe testing and things like that. It would pretty much open it up for us to sell anything, and people in our neighborhood could sell their honey without having a kitchen license. People can sell raw milk and things like that. So even though we got our home kitchen license, we're still working on the food sovereignty law, because I think that is even better, and it's a step above even further for food freedom here in Maine and in our little town here. So I wanted to share that with you because it was definitely a long road to get our home kitchen license. When we first moved here, I thought it would be something easy, but as you know, it gets a little bit more difficult, especially as the money is just disappearing left and right. We're getting projects done in our house. We're buying all the stuff we need, our furniture, everything that we need to make our house a home, and the bills and everything. Once you get all that out, you're left with very little. So like, I didn't have a lot of money to put towards the kitchen and getting all of these things. By the grace of God, we got it done, and we were able to have just enough to get these things done, like the water test, and we got lucky with the whole septic thing. The actual kitchen license was only $20, so I just have to pay that every year. And then the water test, that's $40. I have to do that once a year. But everything else is done for. I don't need any more kitchen inspections unless a problem arises. I don't need any more septic inspections. All I really need to do is reapply for my permit every year, and it just renews itself. So that is awesome. The permit is so cheap, $20 a year. That is nothing, but just the steps it took to get there. I got super lucky with the dishwasher too, because we got it for free, and it worked out that I could just plumb it right there with our washer and didn't have to pay a plumber a whole bunch of money to get new plumbing done. Just so many things eventually lined up perfectly. It's like the stars aligned, and we were able to get this done a little bit later than what we had first imagined, but we got it done. And through it all, God reminded me to just be patient, take a deep breath, do what I can, but not worry about the things that I can't control. So I hope that this story helps you. I've been meaning to share it with you, and definitely visit our Vision Farm so you can see our little tour of our kitchen. And you can see I made a playlist on there too of how our house looks, kind of like when we first bought it, and what changes we have done so far. We still have tons of work to do with this house, but we got the rest of our lives to slowly work on that little by little. So hopefully this serves as motivation to you, and also that video on our farm channel would be helpful if you live in Maine and you want to get your home kitchen license as well. You can pretty much watch our video and see everything that they are going to require, and you've learned a little bit about my backstory on the steps that it took and the prices and everything that it took to apply for this permit. So either way, I hope it's helpful to you in some way or another, and a story of a happy ending when it seemed like I was never going to get to that point. It happens for me, and it can happen for you. I hope you guys enjoy your week, and happy early New Year's to you. I'm excited for a new year and to see what all God's surprises are in store for 2025. I have a feeling it's going to be a great year. 2024 was a great year as well, but I feel like we came across a lot of struggles, but I think that 2025, all of that is going to turn around. Our blessings are going to come. Everything that has ever been taken from us, or everything that we have lost, we're going to receive it tenfold. We're going to be the people that we can do what we really want, where our heart's desire is to help others. So instead of us needing help, I feel like 2025 is going to be that turnaround point where we have enough and we have an overabundance to help others. We try to help people as much as we can in our current situation, but I feel like 2025 is going to be like that year where everyone who is doing the Lord's work, everyone who has been faithful and just patiently waiting, I feel like they're going to receive, not just me, but everyone is going to receive those blessings that have been promised, because God does not He keeps up with his promises. He makes them happen. So it's going to happen for you, whatever it is that you're praying for and you're continuing to remain faithful for and you're patiently waiting for. Don't forget the patient part. That is the hardest part in my experience, but we're able to share testimonies with you because we were eventually patient and we were able to physically see God work in our lives and see those promises come to life. So that's not going to stop in 2025. It's going to happen even more. God bless you guys. Hope you have an amazing New Year's together with your friends or family or whoever you're celebrating with. And I am looking forward to hearing your testimonies, and I'm looking forward to sharing more testimonies of myself for this year 2025.